I I am so done with XYZ monsters, XYZ decks, and the whole XYZ summoning mechanic as a whole. That's just I don't want to touch an XYZ deck again for the rest of the year. Is you can see this is XYZ Cup, and you can see I'm nowhere close to the border. Okay, I never got that close. I know it says 335th. That's 200 spots is huge. Okay, that's literally double my score. The closest I got was 32k. I was like top 100 going into the final day, and as you can see, I didn't gain any points on the final day. In fact, I lost I lost 7k points on the yeah. My experience, like 0 out of 10 would not recommend. I don't even know why I did this event. To be honest, it felt like I just wasted a weekend, which is, I guess, is nothing new to me. I'm a fucking Yu-Gi-Oh player, bro. I'm used to wasting weekends. Yeah. So there was probably 3 top decks for this event that were above the rest. One of them was Purrely. No surprises, everyone expected that. Another one was Labrynth, which, you know, unfortunately for the XYZ Cup, was also not a surprise to most people. But I would put Labrynth as the 3rd best deck tops. Why? Because the best deck of this format was actually Fire Kings. Yes, if you weren't playing Stage 2 of the XYZ Cup, you probably wouldn't like that statement. Probably catches you off guard because you're like, what, Fire King? Really? Fire King is the best deck still, even in XYZ event with no Link monsters, no Peruvian Princes? Well, yes, I will show you a deck list later on, and I'll explain why Fire King was, even in the XYZ event, how Fire King was still probably the best. And because Fire King was one of the best decks, it hurts Labrynth. Because if there's one thing keeping Labrynth in check, it's the Fire King matchup. That matchup is dreadful for Labrynth. It's honest to the god, like, it's like a 2080 matchup for Labrynth. You have to open so well as a Lab player, and the Fire King player has to brick, and only then you would have a chance of winning. It's awful. So I played 2 decks basically for the event, and unfortunately one of them was this. Now you can go ahead, dislike the video right now. I am the bad guy in this event. I was a Labrynth player in the XYZ event. Feel free, okay? It's completely understandable if you want to dislike this video after me admitting this. Don't worry though. I got my karma. I got smoked by Fire King, my fair share of Fire King matchups. You know, I deserved, honestly. Well, this is a Labrynth deck, bro. There's not really much interesting to talk about in the Labrynth deck, so we'll go over this quickly. As you can see, I'm running 1 Arius because honestly, Arius without Link monsters or a Chaos Angel is actually not that useful. Like, yes, it's a free body that you get, but when you only have XYZ monsters and you don't, like, you can't really go into rank 6s because this is the only one, because the only XYZ level that this helps with is by going to rank 6s, and you can only go into rank 6s with more copies of Arius or Arius plus a driver. So that, like, even if you run multiple Arius, like, XYZ to level 6 barely comes up. And if you can't do that, then the Arius body on the field doesn't really do anything for you. It's just there. Like, it's helpful. Sometimes you can use it to, you know, summon actual Labrynth monsters from your hand that have useful levels for you for XYZ summoning. Spoilers, doesn't happen that often, but, you know, maybe, you know, it happens like once a day during a stage 2, and it sets traps from your hand. Like, if you want to run 3 for the XYZ event, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people cut Arius just because the body it provides isn't that useful when all you can go into this event are XYZ monsters. So yeah, and then everything else is like too lady, because I was probably should cut down this to 1, but I was expecting a lot of mirror matches, and this is obviously very good in the mirror match. Whoever establishes lady Labrynth first in the mirror match usually has the upper hand and wins. And then, like, obviously this is a furniture build. I'm running furnitures because and also hand traps and no transaction rollback because I needed ways to play going second. I needed to draw hand traps going second, bro. If I don't draw hand traps versus Fire King going second, it's honestly dreadful. Like I might as well just go next, save myself some time, right? And the furniture is also double as chain blocks versus Purrely, which is very important to block the Purrely Nor from attaching the quick play spell. That way you can prevent it from setting the Eep from the deck. Granted, you know, every time I did that, my opponent already hard open Eep, because apparently every fucking Purrely player is running 3 per Eep in their deck, so it doesn't even matter if you fucking chain block, bro. Like honestly, it felt like a lot of games going second just felt hopeless. This event, which it's not too different from normal Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess, which is still kind of disappointing because I would hope that for an event with like a restricted ban list that it would at least be a little bit more back and forth when you're not playing when like all the best decks are banned. But apparently, no matter what meta it is, you're always gonna have the problem of going second. So it is what it is. And trap cards, these are all pretty standard. The Daruma, 1 Ice Dragon's Prison, and the Terrors, the Oru, these are like the sets off of Lady. Ice Dragon is really important in the mirror match, and it's also probably the best generic trap you can get for Fire King. That's like not just targeted hate for Fire King, but like it's generic, but it's also really good against the Fire King matchup. And Terrors is like just the next best card. This is the only one that hits back row, so that's important. You can you can like hit weird stuff like the Purrely Field Spell or My Friend Purrely. You can hit Floodgates with this. It's against Kashtira, you get rid of a Kashtira monster, and then you set an Ash Flop into their field, so they're still blocked from some of the more Kashtira monsters. And then they reveal that they have Birth anyway, so none of that even mattered. But we'll prevent that. We'll prevent that part never happened. But yeah, going forward, there's another type of Labrynth build that was successful, which is that used the Ariane and focuses on ranked 4s. Because I didn't go into the X deck very much. I'll say that right now. That's probably the better way to play was probably to just use a build with Ariane that focused on turning out a level 4 rank 4 turn 1. And what rank 4? Either Dweller or Baguska. Baguska in an Xyz event, I mean, do I really have to say more about how good Baguska is in the Xyz event? And also, if your opponent's on more than 40 cards, there's a high chance that they're on Fire Kings, because I'll show you the Fire King deck list in a little bit. It's hella, you know, full. There's a lot of engine requirements you gotta run in Fire King. So if you can like make a good read that they're like a 44 card deck and they're on Fire Kings, you make Dweller. And yeah, that's one of the ways you can actually beat Fire King. And I wished I did that at all, because you know I was getting smoked by those fucking flaming chickens. Yeah. So the extra deck, I'll say what I actually went into in the extra deck. Okay. So I went into Typhon, and I went into Exciton Knight once, and I went into Zeus. Surprisingly, I did not go into Baguska, because you know that played when you don't run Ariane, that going to Baguska just doesn't come up very often, and by extension, didn't go into any of these other rank 4s. Didn't go into a rank 8 either. Should have probably been Dingirsu, because Dingirsu doesn't destroy, so that's better against Fire Kings than this. But at the same time, Dingirsu is a machine, and Buzz King is a fiend, so you're more likely to be able to go into Buzz King over Dingirsu. Either way, the situation to go into a rank 8 did not really come up that often. Once with a Lava Golem my opponent gave me, but that wasn't necessary. That would have just BM. But yeah, I mentioned I went into Zeus. How did I make Zeus in this deck? Well, definitely was not with a rank 4. I made a Zeus with Mannequin Cat into Downerd. You might be thinking, how the hell do you make Mannequin Cat in Lab? Well, you'll see in the replay. I'll show you. It's the Mannequin Cat. I went into more than I went into basically every other rank 4 in this extra deck. So yeah, that tells you how much this build exceeds summons. Anyways, let's get into the more interesting deck profile that's not Labrynth. So here, this is the goo for the XYZ event. Fire King, yes, Springans, Sargass Turbo. Okay, I'll explain what these cards are in here for. But first of all, obviously I did not come up with this. Okay, this was a Tosku invention. You know, when you get first and that many Duelist Cups, you know, you're just built different, and you see the game in a different way, and you're able to see card combinations that us mere mortals would never even think was even like. I didn't even know. I honestly did not even know this was a real card. So, yeah. So this is it is primarily a Fire King engine, but how the Springans cards work in here is, and by the way, the only reason I played this was because Springans ship X Blow Me and Gigantic Champion Sargass. These are both URs. If I didn't own these already, I would not have played this, but I held onto these cards for so long that I didn't dismantle them. Why didn't I dismantle them? I have no idea, because I literally had no use for these cards. I didn't plan to use these cards ever, but until the XYZ event, apparently. So yeah, I just randomly had these two URs, so I'm like, oh, cool, I guess I have the engine, so I might as well try it, right? So I put these two in, and then Sargass and Springans. So how this works is, Fire King is very good at making rank 8s, okay? Obviously, you see, you know, their Fiend Boss Monster, XYZ Monster, is a rank 8, and yeah, getting Kieran out, Garunix is a level 8, you summon out Garunix, you pop Alcanix summons out the other Garunix, and then that's 2 level 8 bodies on the field, like that. Easy, that's a level 8 off of literally just Fire King Island resolving. So once you have the 2 level 8s, the rank 8 that you're going to go into is Springans ship X Blow Me. So this does have has a removal effect. You can like target a zone. It doesn't target specific cards. It targets a zone and then pops cards in the adjacent zone. So that's kind of funny. Also, by the way, this is a fire. Just for some reason, it's so more synergy. But you go into this and then you immediately overlay a Sargass on top of Springans ship. So it's just you can XYZ summon Sargass by using a Springans XYZ monster you control. So you go this over the ship, and then you use Sargass effect. You're going to add Tally-Ho from your deck. Now, what the hell does Tally-Ho do? Okay, let's read this. When you activate this card, you can also detach up to 3 monsters from 3 materials from monsters you control. Add 1 Springans monster from deck to your hand. Then, if you detach any material at activation, you can special that many Springans monsters from your hand or graveyard. So basically, the idea is you search Tally-Ho Springans, then you use its effect. You're going to detach 2 materials, exactly 2 materials. Okay, do not detach 1, do not detach 3, because if you do, then this combo doesn't work. Not that like you would need to know this is a fucking XYZ Cup, like, but you're probably not gonna play this again. But this is just like for entertainment purposes, right? You detach 2, you're probably gonna detach Explorer. You have to detach this as one of them, and then you're probably gonna detach the Runa because you want that in the grave. And then you're gonna add Sargass to your hand. Sargass is a hard garnet, so if you draw this, you can't really do the combo. So you have to go to a different rank 8. But assuming you didn't draw it, you add this to your hand, and then after you add this to your hand, add Resolution. Because you detach 2 materials, you can special summon this to your field, and you can special summon Explorer to your field. So then, Explorer and Sargass are both on the field. What are these two? These are 2 rank 8 XYZs that aren't number monsters. So you know what that means, right? You go into Utopic Future, you go into UDF. And then you have Sargass on the field. And what does Sargass do? During your opponent's turn, you can detach 1 material from the XYZ monster you control, then try to go and face the card on the field, destroy it. So just by making a rank 8, you get to a UDF plus Sargass, which is a quick effect pop, which is actually surprisingly very good in the mirror match, because you can do this. You can pop either their Sanctuary when they go to activate it, or you can just pop their Fire King Island if they don't have Sanctuary, and that's like actually a very strong form of interruption, just having a targeted pop on a spell and trap, and not just the monsters. Yeah, and then on top of the, you know, the 2 interruptions you have there, again, that was just off of resolving 1 Fire King Island. You still have more cards in your hand. You still have your entire Fire King engine online. You have your follow-up, you have your Ponexes coming back, because you probably popped it from Fire King Island. You have your, you know, if you know, this ever dies, it is a fire monster, so anytime fire monster dies, your Garunas comes back, and Garunas can, you know, send Kira and then pop more stuff. You know how the Fire King stuff works, and then obviously if you already have a Kira in your hand, then you can just do your Fire King plays independent of them popping your own cards, and it's just really, you're probably gonna win the game if you resolve that combo, because you have minimum 2 interruptions off of just Springan's cards, plus whatever, like 2 to 3 more interruptions off the Fire King cards, plus you have follow-up in the form of OSS if you went through that line, you have follow-up in the form of Ponex, you have follow-up, you know, at just more monsters in Grave, and so on and so on. Oh yeah, that's like honestly insane that Fire Kings still puts up the strongest board in the XYZ Cup without any Link monsters. And yeah, for the rest of the deck, so we're still playing the Snake Eye stuff. The Snake Eye stuff is, even without Link monsters, the stuff is really cool because you can get into Flamebird, and then Flamebirds represents your follow-up. You can do like 2 things with Flamebirds. If you want to be conservative, you can just Flamebird, scale Ash, and then on your opponent's turn summon back the Ash, and then you get that's like tempo at home. You just get your additional follow-up that way. It also you can also be aggressive, and you can pop Flambirds with like your Fire King monsters like Fire King Island, and then it gets you your 2 level 1 monsters back, and you can use those to go into rank 1, such as Ensemble Nightingale, just to make sure you're not dying next turn, or Ensemble Robin, just, you know, 2 bounces of special summons just as another free form of interruption. Why not, right? And yeah, also obviously the Poplar gets you your OSS, which gets you your Ponex and that stuff. I'm not running Diabellstar because 1, I didn't want to run a 50 card deck, and 2, it felt really bad discarding cards to summon Diabellstar and then like getting negated, and then I can't do anything about it because this isn't a fire monster, unfortunately. But I'm pretty sure it's correct to include some number of Diabellstar and like wanted. I just don't know. Honestly, I don't know what the deck building is. I don't know what the deck list looks like at all. This is just me. This deck list is me like throwing shit at the wall, and the ratios are all messed up. I don't know if these are the correct ratios. Like 2 Ponex, 2 Poplar, 2 Fire King Island, 2 Skyfire. I mean, come on, man, make up your mind. Like, the only reason I'm not running these some of these cards at 3 is because I didn't want a 50 card deck, but I also didn't want to run them at 1 because I felt like I needed to open more starters. So I don't know. These ratios could be improved. Also, Garunix, it's probably correct to have more than 1 Garunix. Am I gonna crash more than 1 Garunix just to play in the fucking XYZ Cup? No. So because of that, everyone I was playing against had multiple Sacred Fire King Garunix, while I just had my 1, and if my 1 got called by it, I guess we go next, right? So that happened a few times. My opponent had they won because they had multiple Garunix, but it is what it is. If you're a pure Fire King enjoyer, I guess it was fine to have multiples, but I was definitely not a pure Fire King enjoyer, so I did not have multiple Garunix, and I've been meaning to ask a few times. And yeah, pod is nice. Honestly, you don't care about a lot of this extra deck. And, you know, the bonfires you have to. This is, yeah. Oh, yeah, also Tally Ho Springans, by the way, has another effect in Grave. It has a useful effect in Grave. During your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 XYZ monster on the field. Detach 1 material from it, and if you do, add this card to your hand. Notice it says on the field, not XYZ monster you control. So, I've done this plenty of times. I've used Tally Ho Springans, and I've detached the material off of a Zeus. And then the Zeus no longer had an activation. So, this just outs randomly. It outs Zeus. It also randomly outs Trident. I detached something off of a Typhon. Not that it did anything, just to be funny. But yeah, the fact that this has a beneficial effect in Grave for the follow up after you use it, it's actually crazy. This engine, I can't believe Tosku found out this engine. It must have been a Springan's enjoyer or something. And you see I'm running Crow in this build, so these used to be Veilers, but honestly, I was getting farmed the fuck out of Purrely. I had like a 20% win rate versus Purrely going second with this deck. I don't know why. I feel like the matchup's not that bad. But I mean, apparently it was for me. My opponent's open cracked, and I'm not good at the game, so that's another handicap. And yeah, I decided to swap the crows because Valor, they always open street, so it's not like Valor did anything. So I'm a hit crow, and I'm at least guaranteed that I hit the sleeping memory out of your grave when you try to use your black cat. Try to stop it, and this actually does something in the mirror. Assuming your opponent is playing Springans, which everyone was playing Springans build, they're playing Fire King, or at least most people. So Crow actually stops them from doing this whole Springans play into UDF, because you can Crow when they use I believe Tallyho Springans. Yeah, it detaches at cost, so they detach too, and then you chain Crow on the Explorer, and then suddenly they can't summon anything else. So they have a Sargass in hand and an Explorer, and they can't go on UDF, and yeah, that's actually a pretty decent. It's usually not that great against Fire Kings, but against the Sargass play specifically, it's actually pretty decent. So for the extract, obviously we explained the Explorer and the Sargass and the UDF stuff, and then 2 Runes Eternity, because I have to. I pulled 2. I didn't dismantle the second one. Zeus, Typhon. Symbol Nightingale plus Ensemble Robin. A lot of people don't play Ensemble Robin. I totally get it. This honestly is kind of win more, but I guess the 15 extra deck slot isn't that important, but Assemble Nightingale is definitely very important for going into Zeus with the downer and stuff. And then other rank 8s is actually Photon Lord. Honestly, I made this thing once this entire time. It's just, when you're going for a line that sets up UDF plus a pop, you generally don't go for Photon Lord. You really only do this to insulate against Nibiru early, which is like that line to do that and still make a play afterwards doesn't really come up that often. But yeah, Draglubion and Numron Dragon plus Hope Armor. This was Plan B. This was if you draw Sargass, you can't go into the Springans lines anymore. So you have to go Draglubion to make Hope Harbinger and put the Numron Dragon underneath the Hope Harbinger, which is, it's alright, it's a spell negate, it's not as good, but it's still 1 interruption at least. Although, honestly, I made Hope Harbinger like maybe a handful of times. I made Numron Dragon to OTK about almost as much, because it counts your opponent's Xyz monster. So when your opponent goes for stuff, when your opponent goes for Draglubion and then they leave this on the board, and then you can go Draglubion, your own Draglubion into Numron Dragon, and then your opponent, you're like, oh, thank you for giving me 16 free ranks of Xyz to kill you with Numron Dragon. Yeah, this was supposed to be just material for Hope Harbinger, but it ended up being like a very important. I ended so many games with Numron Dragon that I didn't expect, but it was there, so it's probably me as an 8-axis player just hyper fixating on the fact that I have a play to Numron Dragon. But yeah, anyways, why don't we see these decks in action? Enough yapping about this. So I know how most of you feel about Lab in the Xyz event, and I get it. So I'm only gonna show you the most interesting replays I've had of Lab. I promise. And yeah, this is a classic Lab opening, set 3 plus having a couple hand traps in hand. Here's the thing about Labrynth, especially when you're not playing the Floodgate build. If you don't open your like 2 to 3 card combos to actually be able to use your welcome traps on turn 1, then a lot of the time you're just sending cards and passing to your opponent, and your turn 1 isn't honestly that strong. This is like 2 interruptions plus 2 hand traps on board. It's not the best, as I figured out. Purrely kind of smokes you going second a lot of times if you don't open extremely well. And speaking of Purrely, here's one of the Purrely. I'm gonna activate this right now because I have I'm planning to use a big welcome Labrynth to maybe summon a Lady Lab, so that I can then set more traps off the Daruma and Terrors, although to be honest that's not a good idea against Purrely, so this is probably a very early Gamma, but I decided to use it anyways, and they're gonna Happy Memories save their early, I guess, and then summon Purrely, which is the thing I should have held the Gamma for, so that was already a mistake. But yeah, they're going to Purrely, add My Friend Purrely, activate My Friend Purrely, and on the activation, they're going to add 2 Street and 1 Delicious, and they're gonna add Street, and then they're gonna use Purrely, and then I'm going to chain Daruma just to end that right there. So no XDs for you. Hard once return Purrely. See if you have any more extenders, and they do have one. They have a Purrely pretty memory, unfortunately. So then Purrely gets. By the way, the hit rate on White Cats is supposed to be somewhere around like 50-50, according to Dinkan Fam, the Purrely god. It's like a 50-50 where you hit a useful quick play spell off the White Cat. For my Purrely opponents, it was more like a 90% chance that they hit something useful off the Purrely. So yeah, that's rough when your opponents are just defying the laws of math. But you know, and then Purrely is gonna reveal Happy Memory and go into Happiness, and then you're gonna enter battle phase. You're gonna attack Overdrive, okay? And then they're going to add Delicious, and then they're going to Delicious, and then Happiness, and right now my fucking Terrace of the Overroot is like looking real bad because they got the stray Purrely Street. I honestly should have fired this off earlier. That was another misplay. So you can tell I'm just the best lab player on all of Master Duel right now. Just flawless lab gameplay. Yeah. Anyways, now they're going to attach the Delicious Memory, and I don't chain block it because I didn't have anything useful to. I should have chain blocked this. Like I'm like throwing left and right. But yeah, here comes the Welcome Labrynth back to my hand, and they're gonna make my Gamma not be able to be destroyed by battle. So they're gonna attack into my Gamma, and then they're gonna add another Happy Memory. And here I chain block. I finally learned how to chain block and play against the Purrely matchup properly. Whoopsie! Only took like three attaches off the Purrely Happiness. But yeah, here comes the Veiler back, and they got the last Sleepy Memory in hand, and then they're still gonna attach to it. But unfortunately for them, they are 1 material short off of making a hard making Noir. So they're ending on 3 set monsters and an Purrely Happiness. And in case you're wondering, this is 0 interruptions. So here comes the Street, giving them another Sleep Memory. So they're gonna draw 2 cards, and I hope they don't draw anything useful. But yeah, here I taught that Stovey Torby. You're probably wondering why this Gamma didn't die, because it got flip face down, then it got flip face up, so it no longer remembers that it was Special Summon by its own effect, so it doesn't get banished. Also, they made it undestroyable by battle. For some reason, I don't know why they made this one the one that. I guess because they wanted the. I don't know, but the point is somehow they left this Gamma level 2 on the field. So now I'm gonna normal summon Stovey Torby. We're gonna go into Mannequin Cat, and I'm gonna battle phase, attack over the Veiler, and then go into Downer Magician into Zeus. When do you see Labrynth go into Mannequin Cat into Downer into Zeus? So yeah, all of that's gone, and now I'm gonna set Welcome Labrynth, and now they have to contend with a Zeus with 3 cards in hand. So somehow we got out of this with the upper hand. So now I'm gonna use Welcome Labrynth, and I'm gonna chain Zeus so that it wipes the board, and then I get the Welcome summon, and then probably win from there. But yeah, that's that was the one of the few times I went into my extra deck for Labrynth was to make a fucking Mannequin Cat with a Gamma and a Stovey Torby. So here's the matchup everyone's excited to see. We're playing. Wait for it. The Lab Mirror. Oh hell yeah! Ariane sent evenly matched. Use Maxi. Why not, right? A few times Labrynth opens himself up to Maxi, so I'm gonna exactly what I wanted. And then they're gonna Ariana add Welcome Labrynth for some add Labrynth for some reason. That's a little bit of a weird ad there, but yeah. End of main, I'm gonna use Stovey Torby. I'm gonna set Big Welcome, and then I'm gonna RES set Welcome Labrynth so that I can use. So now I can use Welcome Labrynth, and then on my turn, I'm gonna have Big Welcome Labrynth ready. Okay, so I think Welcome Labrynth. I don't know why I did this in the main phase. That was dumb. I should have waited until the end phase. Again, just absolutely peak Labrynth player gameplay here. Okay, so Arius has to be centered in the main phase, but the set can be activated at any time during turn. So I should have just waited for them to go into the end phase. I don't know why I did this in the main phase, because yeah, I add Lady Labrynth, and then a special summon Lady Labrynth, and then they have 2 level 4s on the field. Okay, you know what they can do? They can make Baguska, and now, cool. Now we're at a stalemate because now I'm facing a Baguska with this imperm that I can't use yet until the next turn. So yeah, I just said it's not like I can do anything by summoning off the big welcome, and then their Baguska is gonna enter battle phase, attack into my Ariana, then they're gonna go into Zeus. Okay, so this Zeus is like a 2 material Zeus, so I'm not afraid of this at all because my imperm checks the Zeus anyways. It checked the Baguska, but it also checks the Zeus. So at the very least, I can now start using my Welcome Labrynth and play, and then they have the Maxi, so they get to chain block the Lady Labrynth, but then we get to summon the Arius from the grave, which then they do chain link for their own big Welcome Labrynth, and then I'm gonna chain my Lady Labrynth off, set off of their Welcome Labrynth, then chain link 6, I'm gonna chain the other Maxi in my hand. So yeah, average Labrynth mirror match chain. So I get to set the Ice Dragon's Prison, incredible in the mirror match, their Welcome Labrynth summons out Lady, and then they get to pop the IDP that I just set, so unfortunately with the Labrynth Lab, and then I draw 1 off the Maxi, the Arius comes back, and then their Maxi resolves, and then finally my big Welcome gets out the Lovely, and then I add Ariana back to my hand, and I'm gonna pop a card, and then their Sylvie Torby comes back since I have furniture, and then the Welcome Labrynth comes back, and this is, and they're gonna imperm my Lovely anyways, so you know, I was gonna pop your back row anyway, so it worked out. You used the card I was gonna pop anyways. But yeah, this is you just had 10 chain links. I shouldn't have summoned the Sylvie Torby because I honestly, after all of that, I forgot I was under fucking Maxi. So I just gave my opponent the free draw for no reason. Like I didn't need the Sylvie Torby. But yeah, because I got it back, I might as well use it, right? Send the driver, get another big welcome. Then they're gonna Zeus on the end phase, but I did have to imprint this entire time, so no biggie. And finally, after that like those 2 massive like 10 chains worth of interactions, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 8 cards to my opponent's 6. So yeah, this is pretty much over. We draw potted extra, so we're gonna get 2 more cards out of this. Drawing the Coup Clock, nice, lovely. Reset Ice Dragon Prison, and then use the Coup Clock right now. I don't know why I used it right now, but like it doesn't matter because now I can summon Ariane, add Labrynth, and then switch everything to attack. Labrynth, enter battle phase, use Welcome Labrynth, and then set another card off Lady Labrynth. Yeah, this is I know they have a Lady Labrynth in hand, but their Lady Labrynth it's not gonna cut it, bro. They summoned it, chaining it to my Welcome Labrynth, so that means I can just pop. Okay, so here comes my Lady Labrynth. I pop the Zeus, then I can just enter battle phase. So I have I'm gonna pop another card. Why not? Nice evenly matched. You weren't gonna live to see it, to use that anyways, but yeah. Average. Okay, not the average Labrynth mirror match. Those honestly, that was probably way too much XYZ something to be considered an average Labrynth mirror match, but it is the XYZ Cup after all. Okay, so if you're wondering how the Fire King SPRINGANS combo goes, here's the absolute biggest combo that I've ever done that I think that is possible with this deck. So first of all, you know, the Maxi minigame, gotta play this because you know Kami kept this legal for the XYZ event, so we gotta deal with this BS on top of everything else. But yeah, here comes Bonfire. I'm gonna Bonfire, add Poplar. I like to add Poplar. Whether you add Ash or Poplar, it leads to the same thing. Honestly, it does. I just like adding Poplar in this case since it doesn't cost a normal summon, so if Poplar gets the game for some reason, then I still have the Alcanex as the follow-up. Whereas if I normal summon Ash and that gets stopped, then I can't do anything more this turn. So yeah, Poplar, add a OSS, send Poplar, get Ash, will add your Pawnex, and then Poplar's resets itself, then we'll use Ash and Poplar to get into Flamberge. And here, I'm going to normal summon Alcanex. Alcanex will pop the Arvada in hand to add Garunix. Special Pawnex first. Pawnex, get the Sanctuary, activate Sanctuary, place Island. Island, pop Pawnex, add Kirin. Then this will trigger Garunix, special Garunix. Garunix effect, I will send another Kieran. Kieran will revive Arvata. And now I'm completely safe from Nibiru. And because I use Kieran, I get to pop a card. So I'm going to pop Flamebird. This isn't part of the standard line. This is just the fact because I opened Arvata plus Volcanic, which is like a crazy hand. I get to play around Nibiru like this. So now Arvata's going to be, I get to play around Nibiru. And then Flamebird summons back Ash plus Poplar. These two go into Ensemble Robin. I just go into the now just to save space. And here we go to the Springans stuff, okay? X Blow Me. On top of X Blow Me, we put Sargass. Then Sargass will add Tally-Ho Springans. Activate Tally-Ho Springans, detaching X-Blower plus Garunix. Add Sargass, special Sargass, and then we get the special to X-Blower. And then these two. Well, also, by the way, Sargass has another effect. If it appears detached, you can target a card on the field, destroy it, or return to the hand. So, what you do on turn 1 is you target your Fire King Island, and you return your Fire King Island to your hand. That way, it's guaranteed to follow up for next turn, and because it's not on the field, you're not at risk of having your entire field nuked when your opponent gets rid of Fire King Island, because it's no longer there for them to destroy. So you're safe from your own Fire King Island board wipe with this combo too. It's just an extra bonus of why this is the best thing to do in the XYZ Cup. And here comes Utopic Draco Future. So yeah, now we have Utopic Draco Future plus a pop-off Sargass plus Ensemble Robin, 2 bounces on special summon, plus Arvada, plus a Kieran in hand, plus all this shit engraved. Ponix is coming back in the standby phase, and then the Garunix is obviously, Garunix. So yeah, this is literally everything. This is probably the best board you could make in this festival. And our opponent's on Cash, I think. I think they're on Cash. So I'm going to Arvata, the Pathfinder, because that's like the weakest interruption in my opinion. Send the Ponix, and then they're gonna triple tag Talon, take my UDF. So this kind of hurts, but again, okay, they're gonna attack into that, and then I'm gonna use Poplar, set the Flamebirds, which they're gonna negate. So yeah, because if I don't know why they negated that, they could have Zeus twice and it would have been the same thing. But yeah, I guess they didn't want me to get summon back the Ponix and get another Surge. So yeah, it's understandable that they negate the Poplar setting back the Flamebirds, because they're gonna Zeus after this. Now they don't own a downer, so they can't downer over the Draco Future to get an extra the extra send, but they will Zeus, and then Zeus will send everything, and then I will trigger Kieran chaining to the Zeus. I will pop the Arvada, and then summon the Kieran, and then everything gets sent, and the Garunix triggers and the Arvada triggers. So Arvata will summon back Alcanix, and then Garunix will summon itself back, and then use Garunix effect. I will chain block, I guess. Alcanix is negated, so it doesn't get its effect anyways. But yeah, Garunix will send another Alcanix. Alcanix will trigger, summon Garunix, and then they're gonna go into this Typhon after the Zeus, and then Typhon put back the Garunix in my hand. So, and then the end phase pops the Alcanix. So this is still fine, because on my turn, right, I get the Ponix back, and then I have all this follow-up plus Garunix, and then, oh, yeah, I guess not, because they have Macrocosmos. They have, like, Talents, Macrocosmos, Zeus wipe the field. And this is still fine. So first of all, I'm going to Tally-Ho, detach the material off of the Typhon, just because it's funny, not that this really does anything. They're going to normal summon Ponix, and then they're going to strike the Ponix, too. So they even had the strike. But, they miscalculated this one thing, so I'm going to use OSS Engrave effect. And that's another form of follow-up, by the way. Add Poplar. And then I'm going to special Poplar. And then Poplar will add Subversion. And here I'm going to use Fire King Island. I'm going to pop Valor to add Kieran to hand. Then I'm going to Kieran pop the Poplars to special summon the Kieran. Going to Draglubion, Subversion the Typhon, so now I can use monster with 3k or more attack. And then I'm going to detach the Draglubion into Neuron Dragon into 9k attack. So yeah, that's the thing about the board. Not only is the board like an insane amount of interruptions, but also you see our opponent. Whoa! It's maintenance. What timing? Yeah, so, as I was saying, our opponent actually had the resources to completely break that board Zeus the field, and then set up a macro crossbows, and then had a warning of a strong strike on top of that, and there was still way more than enough follow-up to still end the game on the next turn, even through all of that. So yeah, massive board plus massive follow-up and recursion. That's why Fire King was the best deck this event. So obviously with the discovery of Fire King being able to actually make a real end board in this event, going second became a lot harder in the matchup, to the point where now, I mean, you have to deal with their board, and then you also have to play in a way to where you aren't just gonna die the next turn to their follow-up, and usually this involves you having to resolve at least one impactful hand drop against Fire King, which is kind of hard to do, because Fire King, just like in normal ranked, is still quite resilient to a lot of hand traps. And you see, I have a Nibiru and Imperm in my hand, so this is like what it takes sometimes in order to have a chance. And anyway, this Imperm, did I mention Imperm? No, I didn't, because this Imperm gets cross-out designator. At the very least, this means that they don't have to cross-out for a Nibiru. So again, sort of needed to open 2 hand traps to still be able to effectively hand trap my opponent here. And then they're gonna do this stuff, and they're gonna go Garunix, pop the Volcanics to get the other Garunix. The 2 Garunix go into Blow Me, into Sargass, and here I just Nibiru right here. And annoyingly enough, they kept the Flamer on the field, so they did play around the Nibiru somewhat. Now I did do this early before they added, because I don't want them to get the bricks out there. I want them to keep the bricks in their deck. Also, Tallyho has the engrave effect to detach off of the season hero. I don't want them to get that free value like that. So yeah, just Nibiru here, and with the Flamebird still up, they get the summon back 2, and then these 2 go into Assemble Nightingale, so they'll live the next turn. And yeah, on my stand my phase, that opponent gets back, and they detach the Poplar, and Poplar sets the Flamebird, and now I have to deal with I can't end the game this turn, because they still had Assemble Nightingale. Now they still have the entire Fire King grave set up, and now they have a Flamebird placed on the field for follow-up if I try to do anything. Like, for example, if I try to Zeus them, they're just going to get value out of the Flamebird. So yeah, this is still really annoying to play through, despite resolving a Nibiru on the combo. So here, my hand's not that great. I have 1 starter, and this loses to 1 interruption, so I have Prosperity for 6. Notice what I banished, though. I banished the entire Dread Bluebeon line, because, well, you know, if I'm activating Prosperity, I'm probably not going to be able to OTK with Nimrod Dragon, so get rid of that. Get rid of 1 Hyung, and then the Hope Harbinger, and then Galaxy Eyes, and the Ensemble. Notice I kept the entire Springans package still in the extra deck after Prosperity. So Prosperity still definitely a completely correct choice to play in Springans Fire Kings. Then I add a Poplar, which is great, because now I can special the Poplar because it was add off Prosperity, and this gives me another play and see to try to bait interruptions. Nothing happens yet. They don't bite, so I go Snake Eyes Ash, Snake Eyes Poplar, and then set Poplar, add a Ponix. They don't know I have another Ponix hand, so I normal send the Ponix to see if they add anything. Still nothing. And now I'm like, okay, so I have 2 level 1s on the field. And I can't end the game. I can't kill them this turn. So Assemble Nightingale, and I keep the Sanctuary in my hand for later. So I'm gonna go into Assemble Nightingale. I'm gonna attack into theirs. You know, this is just to make Zeus. So we're gonna go into Down Rendition, see if they can bait out anything else, and they have a Book of Eclipse. So yeah, we finally baited out their interruption, and now I'm free to go. They were better off letting this resolve, because if I just went to Zeus and then wiped the board, they would have at least gotten some follow-up back with Flamebird. But now, watch this. So I'm going to activate the Sanctuary that I searched now, go into Fire King Island, and then pop the Ponix, add Garunix, special Garunix, then Garunix will pop the Alcanix, and Alcanix will get the other Garunix, and then it's my turn. It's my turn to do the Springans shit. Okay, Blow Me, target this zone, kill the Sanctuary. Blow Me has a removal effect, by the way, and then we're gonna make Sargass, and then Sargass will add Tallyho, and then Tallyho detach 2, add Sargass, special Explorer, and Sargass. So the reason I didn't pop the Flamebirds, if you were wondering, is because, well, I didn't have enough zones to summon back, get value out of the Flamebirds. I also didn't have the level 1s in the grave anyway, so never mind. I forget I said anything. This Flamebird would have been pointless to pop in the first place. Might as well just keep it in hand as an additional resource. And then Sargas has an effect. I'm gonna target their Fire King Island and pop it. This is gonna trigger Fire King Island. They're gonna pop an entire field, leaving the Flamebird on the field. And now we go into Utopic Draco Future, and we go into Sargas and face draw. I forgot that I was under Prosperity, so I wanted to keep these on field too to draw at the end phase, but then the Prosperity popped up, and I'm like, oh wait, I can't. Because I can't draw anyway, so I kind of just played myself with the Book of Nicholas, but it's fine. You see, them not allowing me the Zeus first actually hurt them, because now this Flamebird, instead of getting them value, summoning back their monsters from grave and getting additional searches during their turn, this is just left on the field with no way for them to get rid of it. And I still go into the full Utopic Draco Future and the Sargas line. And now we get the Tonix back, there's follow-up, and now we have our grave set up too. So they're going to OSS, obviously they still have that form of a follow-up, and they're going to add a Ponix, and then normal the Ponix to get their other Fire King Island, because you run multiples of this in Fire King now. And then this is why this is so strong. So they're gonna activate Fire King Island, and we're gonna Sargas pop the Fire King Island, and that's their biggest push in the mirror match. And you can just stop the Fire King Island completely, either by popping the Sanctuary on activation or by popping the Fire King Island if they don't have the Sanctuary protection with the Sargas. This is why this is so good in the mirror match. And yeah, they have no way to protect it now. Their biggest fire push is gone. Now they have the Garudix in grave, and the Garudix is simply gonna get UDF'd, and there you go. All it took to win going second was Nibiru playing through Zeus and then doing full combo and going that way. So yeah. So there you have the duality of the XYZ Cup. Among the top decks, you had one deck that had to completely reinvent itself within the restrictions of the event and use a completely unique and new combo line with cards that would have probably hardly seen play normally before. And then another deck that hardly uses the extra deck at all. So if you're a fan of that dichotomy, please let Konami know how you feel about these event ban lists in the survey. And I hope you're all excited to play in the Synchro Cup next, and if you are, please let Konami know about that in the surveys too. Gotta let our opinions be heard.